Hey guys, welcome to the corner. It's Spanky, and today I am going to do a quick tutorial showing how to make these Polymer, Sculpey, or Premo, whatever type, clay roses. You can use homemade clay, you can use Play-Doh, you can use the Premo clay, Sculpey, the air dry clay you can use. Today I'm going to use the original Sculpey oven baked clay. It's just what I have on hand. And this is done with white, and I will show you how I got the color on it. It's white clay, and I used my chalk pastels to make it that color. And then also this is the pink clay I had. And this color, I used my chalk pastel and mixed it in with the white to get that nice greeny mint green aqua color. So I'm going to show you how I made this one, and it's pretty simple. And I used polyurethane to coat them afterwards. I just brushed it on. So let me move these out of the way. Alright, so what you're going to need is your clay you're going to use. I got this, I think it was like under 10 bucks at Walmart, and it comes in a big old block like so. I keep it in a bag. You don't want to put this type of clay in containers, plastic containers, because the plastic counter reacts with the clay, and the clay will actually like deteriorate the container. So you don't want to put your clay into plastic containers. You can store them in plastic bags. You don't even have to seal the bags. You can just lay it in there, and that's good. You can use, the cellophane press and seal, Glad press and seal. You can use that. That actually works. And store it in a shoebox. You don't have to store it in a container. So first you're going to cut your amount of clay off you want to use. You don't have to use a lot. However big of rose you want. And then break some off. So it's going to be like this if you use the Sculpey. If you use the other, it'll come in a block like this, and you just break off what you want to use, and then you just work it together. Condition it is basically what you're going to do. This is a piece of cardboard with wax paper on it. It's just so it doesn't stick to my surface. Sometimes it gets sticky. A lot of it just depends on where you're living, the temperature wise. And if it seems to be too stiff from what I've been told, you can put it in the freezer for a little bit, and it helps harden it a little bit so it's more manageable and not so flimsy, is how I word it. So you're just gonna condition it by pushing it together, just like when you were little. And I already started one. So you roll it into a ball once you get it conditioned, and we're gonna roll it out to where it looks like this, like a cane. And the easiest way I found to do that is I use my acrylic block, and I just put it on there. Move this out of the way. And then I go all the way up and down and just continuously do that. Try and hold it at an even surface. I have my fingers rested under it, and you'll see that it expands. So then I'm going to take a razor blade, if I find it. There it is. I don't have one of those fancy clay remover tool things, but I'm gonna cut this in half. And then you just continuously do it. The smaller your snake basically is going to be, the smaller the rose. So about this size here is roughly smaller than this one. So that's less than 1/4 of an inch. So it just depends on what size you want to make. So you're just gonna roll it out until you get your specific size that you want to use. I've already got mine done out, so which is going to be this one. And I do need to roll it out a little bit more. Pixie, enough. I'll cut a little bit more of that one off. And this is just to roll it out so you kind of have an even surface all the way around it. There we go. And that's about good. I'm going to put it on this. And you'll notice I have my chalk pastels here. You could use eyeshadow, pearlescent, mica powder, anything really to give it color. I don't know as far as inks. I'm not sure on. I haven't tried that yet. After it's baked, you can paint them, and you can use the ink of gold on them, whatever. So that's just whatever you prefer, just trial and error. You can play around. So what you're going to do is you're just going to cut sections off. And this one has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 12 or 13 petals. So I'm just gonna cut roughly about that off. You kind of want to keep them around the same size. That one's a little too thin. Alright. You're going to want, I use a skewer or a cuticle stick, whatever you call it. You can use a skewer, whatever works. Do the tapered end right there. And if it's pointy, you're going to want to smash that down so it's not extremely pointed. That's what I did with mine. You could use a toothpick if you wanted. What else do we have here? This is actually something from a nail kit I had that I've never used, and it works really well. So I have that. I have this pokey tool. You can use this, the end of this. Find things around your house that you can use as far as to do stuff. You can also use a straw. I'll show you that. Here's one cut. So if you wanted to use a straw, what you would do is cut some off, roll it into a ball. I'm not good at rolling balls yet. And then you're just going to press it down with an acrylic block or your rolling pin or whatever works. And you will poke your straw or whatever you're using for your circles. And then they'll come up. These ones are kind of stuck in there. That's okay. Okay. So it's basically the same thing, you just don't have to roll it and flatten them. Okay. So what you're going to do is, I'm going to take the longer of them, and I'm going to roll it into a ball. They're all going to be rolled into balls. They don't have to be perfect balls. Just small ball, like just quickly roll them. I think it was Jackie who asked if I would do a tutorial on these. I don't remember, but somebody commented on a post on my Facebook, so I wasn't going to do it until after I got my other colors or something. I was going to try and get some more, but I decided to go ahead and do it like this. because I really like the effect that you get with the chalk on there. So if you don't have any colored, you can do it this way. Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit here. Hopefully it doesn't get too distorted. About there. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to flatten. This is the biggest of them. So I'm going to flatten it, and I'm going to take my stick, and I'm just going to go around my stick and kind of make it domey. I'm not going to push it all the way to the bottom, like to the point of the stick. I'm going to kind of leave it up like that. So now I have that there really quick. I'm going to go ahead and press all my pieces. And now I'm just using my finger. And sometimes it will stick. You just have to carefully work it away. I haven't figured out how to get it not to stick. Some of it sticks, sometimes it doesn't. If it sticks to your surface there, you can use your razor blade or your blade tool and kind of like just work its way underneath and it'll come up. I'll do that step when I'm ready for it. Some of them will just come right off when you roll it, which is a good effect because some of them you want rolled to get the curved effect on your petals. You don't want to press them too thin. Okay, so this one kind of curled up too much, so I'm just going to stick this in there and roll it back out a little bit. There we go. Okay. That one a little bit. I kind of want them flat right now because I'm going to be somewhat painting them, but using my chalk. Whoops, push that one right into it. There we go. Get back down there. Alright. Make sure they're all up. It's easier when they're not all like stuck down. These are a little warmer because I'm where my desk sits, the register button is like literally right underneath me. So what I'm gonna do is choose a color I want to use, and I think I'm gonna use this blue one. So I'm gonna set this here, and what I'm gonna do is just use my razor blade, and I'm just gonna kind of like scratch at my chalk to get some of the color. And I'm gonna get a baby wipe to wipe my hands, so if I touch any of the clay over here, I don't transfer the color on anything. So I like to have that on hand. Alright, so the next thing we're gonna do is I have a little makeup paintbrush. It's an elf brush, and I like this to use. It's a makeup brush, but I use it for crafts. And then I'm just gonna lightly brush it on my petals. You can just do one like very light, so it's just a light done lightly, or you can, you know, do a light layer or a dark layer. That's up to you. I kind of like to blend it to kind of give it a washed look, but the top part of the petal is going to be darker than the inside, basically, is what I go for. but I mean, it's user preference. I'm not going to color all these. I'm just showing you how. Oh, well, I guess I can color. You don't have to color the backs if you don't want to. That's totally up to you. I didn't on this one, and I kind of like how it turned out. And you can do multi-tones, like you can do like a dark color on the inside of it, like towards the bottom of the petal, and then do a light color at the other end where the petal shows. I mean, that's totally on you. Oops, that one went flying. I just gotta go ahead and paint them all really quick. I'm not gonna bake these ones. This is just for tutorial purpose. So I will mix this up and use the clay for something else though. Unless it turns out good, then I might bake it. But I'm not gonna bake it tonight. I'll have to do that tomorrow. So. And then the one that you have on your stick, you can color this one beforehand, but I do it after it's on the stick. That's just easier, I thought. Then you don't have to mix your chalk in with the whole thing. Make sure I get the coverage there. And after you bake it, once you paint it, or not paint it, well, yeah, if you paint it, if you decide to paint it, once you bake it and stuff, you can add glitter to it, or if you really want to get creative, you can add glitter to it before you bake it. So, yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start with my petals, and I usually use a toothpick, and I kind of make my petal before I stick it to it to get it started, just a little flip up. And then I'm going to take this and the bottom, I'm going to line my curve up with the tip, just about where the tip is. And then I'm just going to press in the bottom there. And then I'm going to use my toothpick here, and I'm just going to rub that in so it's connected to that level on the back side of that. And I usually start with the smallest of them and work my way out. So you just kind of line that, eyeball it to line it up. And you want to work across from the other petal that you put on. So just press that in. You don't have to press too hard. So then the next one, this one here, is going to go on the opposite side. See how I have these two across from each other? This one is going to go there. So I'm going to turn that around, and I'm still going to keep the tips of those roughly around the same space. And then just press that in. And you can form it. At this point you can start to form it, so you're already forming your petals. Or you can wait until you got them all on there. But you can pinch the tips of it. If you're able to get in there, you can pinch it and kind of help with the folds, and that's up to you. You don't have to add all these petals. That's up to you. And you can always like form it before you put it onto your flower. If you want to pinch the ends a little bit, and that's all up to you. And then you just find where you put your petal on from the one before and just work your way around. Oops, that one's a little too low, so we're gonna fix that. There we go. As long as you didn't squish it into place, it should be relatively easy to move it. And you just roll it around. And this next one here. Place. Just kind of alternate every other one. And I'm using my toothpick to do that. I used to make these as a kid. I remember Play-Doh. When I babysat, I would make them with the kids I babysat. We would, you know, I'd get out their Play-Doh while they played with Play-Doh. I would get out some and just decorate. I make roses out of foil too. You just add however many petals you want to add. I'm liking the shape of this so far, so I'll probably add one there and one here on the side. I'm gonna spread that one out just a tad bit. Add a little more blue to it. Kind of curve it as I put it on. And petals aren't, there's not all petals on a rose are not the same, so they don't have to be identical. So don't think, you know, they're not lining up right. The rose, if you look at a rose, they're not all the same. Just pressing those in there. And then you can always stretch it too with your fingers. You can hold on to a little bit and kind of stretch it. Not too much, you don't want it too thin. So we're going to stick this one here. And I'm going to call that done. I'm going to press these down up underneath the petals a little bit. You can see what I'm doing. I'm kind of just pressing these in so it's all connected. And that's all you do. And at this point, if you want to add more color to your petals, I would do it at this stage, or you can do it after you bake it. But just add a little bit here and there. You gotta do it lightly so you don't disrupt your petals, how you have them set if you like the way they're set. Go. So it's hard to see the blue, but it's there. It's really super pretty too. It's really faint in some spots. I wonder if I turn this other light off maybe. Oh. Let's see here. Oh, that's a little better there. You can kind of see it. It's very faint through there, but it's really super pretty. And then that's what you do there. And what I do is I take my razor blade and I push it into the stick and I just roll it around. And I kind of determine where I want this to be cut at, because I want it flat on the back. So I'm going to roll up as close as I can to the petals and just push it through. Sometimes it slices right off, other times you kind of got to work with it. And there's your rose. And I probably will keep this one and bake it tomorrow, because that one did turn out really pretty. I like how it turned out. I'll stick that there. And to make the super tiny ones is tricky. You only need a few pieces, and I'm going to cut these in half because it'll work easier, and they'll be smaller because it's to make the smaller ones, you got to work with smaller pieces. So they're not as easy. Okay. I do them different on my, I use a toothpick for the small ones. So for the small ones, I just lightly put the toothpick on there, but I kind of roll it around so you get like a cone. And then I put my toothpick. I just, pretty much the toothpick's just to help hold it. It gives you better control. And then I kind of bend the tips down a little bit. I kind of roll it. So then I'll take my next one. Get it in order. And I just press it into it and kind of wrap it around a little bit. It's the same concept as the other one. This is just a little smaller, so you got less to work with. And you got to be careful. And you just work your way. Sorry, I got a view. Just kind of like work your way around it. You can use, if you have a ball tool, you can use those to press in the bottoms. So you're pressing it into each other. You can help use it to form your edges. I didn't push my toothpick in far enough. There we go. You can also use a needle or the end off of something. Let me find my needle here. There we go. I have ends off from a straight pins. So I'm going to use the needle to help pick this up and flip it over. So I can stick it. It's just easier. You just kind of like rotate it around, place it every other spot. And I just use the needle and roll down the back to help press it into the layer underneath it. Put that in here. So basically, I mean, it's the same thing if you want to do a small one. You just use smaller pieces. And then just pop it off. And you gotta be careful when you mess with them, because you can't, these are delicate at this point because they're so flimsy, you know. You just kind of work with it and get your petals set. At this point, sometimes I like to stick these in the freezer. About now, even if it's on my toothpick, I'll leave them on the toothpick even, and then I'll stick it in the freezer for a few minutes to help stiffen it, so it's easier to work with. It's more pliable to work with, and it's not as delicate. So, but that is just your choice. And I want to add one more right there, it looks like. So I'm gonna flatten this one a little bit. And I'm just going to come up on the bottom there. And you always want to line them up across from the top of the center. There we go. There's a little one. So that's my tutorial. So I hope you guys enjoyed my tutorial, and I really like how this turned out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to message me on here. You can find me in my group on Facebook, Spanky's Crafty Corner. The link is in the description box below. And if you make these, post your pictures. I would love to see your pictures. I think I'm going to add some holographic glitter around the edges of this. Once I get it baked, I think I'll do that before I put my sealer on it. So that's that, and these are the small ones that I have made. They're tiny, tiny. The bigger ones are definitely easier to make. They're about the same size there. But I enjoy doing them. Oh, I got the hiccups, so. But anyways, so thank you for tuning in, you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. And I will see you guys later. Bye!